89% of American voters say that political leaders of both parties fight to protect their own power and privilege. 83% of voters say that Washington is run by an alliance of politicians, incumbents, media pundits, lobbyists, Wall Street big business, and big unions. We Need Smith is a movement that began to lead reform of a broken and corrupt system. We Need Smith attracted thousands of citizens. We Need Smith also attracted 3 remarkable candidates for Congress.
I think part of the reason why the turnout is so low generally is people feel like the folks in politics aren't really working for them, they're working for themselves. So, we had a very long-term incumbent congresswoman who I felt embodied that. And I decided to step up to the plate, even, relatively short notice. It was in the spring of the year of the election that I even got started. And, we went from there. It was a big decision, but I think it was the right one.
I spent an hour with my congressman shortly after the shutdown ended. And the first thing I asked him is if we were going to be open for business in the spring, and his response to me was, "Oh, the shutdown? It was a joke. My mother raised me, if you are disappointed with how something is happening, you do something about it," and this was the version of doing something about it. So we ran.
It was the direction of the country that I felt this burning passion inside of me that we have to change directions.
A liberal Democrat, a conservative Republican, and a middle-of-the-road Republican. 3 long-shot underdogs running against heavily favored incumbents. They joined We Need Smith and signed the Promise to America.
The pledge really spoke to me. The planks that encompass the pledge, I agreed with every single one of them. Probably the most difficult one was voting against leadership, but I realized, people were looking for a change.
What the Pledge to America is, it's about independence, it's about doing the right thing, and it's about returning government to the people. And whether they choose a Democrat or a Republican, it's about them having that choice.
We have to find a way to reignite their hope and their belief that it's worth voting.
I think the Promise to America gives us that opportunity to appeal to people's higher sense of what politics can be about.
It's the perception that our government has been bought, and it's what I heard every single time I traveled.
And the problem is that the system is not made for people who are trying to do their own thing independently and trying to get things done for the people. It's made to protect the people who are looking out for special interests, to protect the incumbent class.
All the incumbents that are sitting and making the legislation, that system works just fine for them.
When I would talk to people about signing the Promise to America, they understood that this is different. I'm saying, look, I'm not going to be that typical kind of politician. And that is what people are looking for. But it really is hard to cut through that layer of cynicism. And the Promise helps you to do that.
These 3 underdogs didn't win, but they did better than anyone expected.
On November 4th, and that evening, I saw grown men in tears over the loss. And that's when I realized that it's more than just an election. It's more than just, oh, we lost and, forget it, this isn't worth it. It really was resonating with people. People truly believed in it in its own way and in what I was saying and what I was standing for.
I mean, we pulled 18,000 voters that voted for the other guy in 10. Same number of voters, and we pulled a significant number on a shoestring.
They aren't giving up.
Just because we didn't win doesn't mean I am throwing in the towel of believing that we deserve better government.
In this time in America, you're going to see a lot of red districts voting more blue and blue districts voting more red because people are rebelling against the incumbency.
Having a conversation with folks wasn't difficult to let them believe that it could be something better. People want to believe it.
And they still believe in running on the Promise to America.
The Promise to America began with 2 tenets: a commitment to not lobby, and the other was that there would be full disclosure, right, that we would support any legislation that would require all campaign money to be disclosed, regardless of law. But it was those 2 tenets that, for me, if I could have shouted them from the rooftops, I would have.
Yeah, the Promise to America really comes down to, you're putting pen to ink to a set of commitments that you're saying you're making to your constituents. And they can look at this, they can hold you accountable to it.
Things aren't changing this country fast enough for people. And as long as we can convince them that quitting and cynicism and not getting involved is the wrong answer, just the easier answer, and get them involved and focused and inspired, and not betray that trust once we get it. That's the key, is not betraying once you get it. Then we'll be able to turn it around.
It's really saying that, no, I'm doing this for the right reasons. I'm in this with pure motives, and I'm willing to put pen and ink to the commitment that I'm making that you can hold me then accountable to.
These three people, Kareth Strano-Taylor, Chris Day, Jim Fisher, and thousands of others who've come to We Need Smith, believe a new movement has begun.
I'm proud of the campaign we ran. I know the message resonated, and it's going to continue to resonate.
What was really empowering and wonderful is when you have that conversation with 5 people and they become inspired, they're willing to go have those conversations. So you build this incredible network of people.
I still agree with all the principles laid out in the Promise to America, so I'd have no hesitancy. And again, I think it really resonates with people, and it gives you an opportunity to let people know, here is something that I stand for, I'm willing to sign on to, and that I think is important for us to focus on.
I mean, I'm a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. If you look at most of my concerns, they align most closely with that party. However, I have absolutely no problem calling it for what it is when the system itself is broken, and that includes when I think Dems are making bad choices for our country, and when ours are making bad choices for our country. And I wish more of us were free to be honest about that, but there's the concern that the money will dry up and it will harm their chances of becoming reelected. So until people like us get elected to change it from the inside, we will continue running against it. And I like the term insurgency. That's what it feels like. You're running against this establishment that's just not serving the people anymore.
3 citizens running for Congress, running to create real change, running on the promise to America. They are Smith, and we need Smith. And we need all the Smiths in America to join this movement.
We still have the greatest democracy in the face of the world, and I think the Promise to America gives us that opportunity to appeal to people's higher sense of what politics can be about.